Well, this is not a test. I'd like to welcome everybody to the fall showcase of classes, activities, clubs, and travel opportunities, and a special welcome to the instructors who are teaching in-person classes and will be given up to a 2-minute summary of their subject. Before, though, we start with the instructor presentation, I'd like to recognize certain people who have, who in addition to Terry Arison, our staff program coordinator, have volunteered much of their time preparing for the showcase. Our first VP, Jan Smith, our second VP, Debbie Justice, our timer today. And all these folks over here volunteered much of their time preparing for the showcase. And so at that point, would you stand and be recognized, the volunteers and the people I just mentioned? Without them, we wouldn't have this to be like it is, that's for sure. I also want to recognize our executive director, Debbie Herman, who's not here today because she was injured in an accident to her leg and is going to be having surgery. So we sorry for that to be the situation, but that's what it is. So Debbie can't be here today. Registration for the for either the annual year or a semester began on Tuesday, September the 12th. Now, at 10 o'clock this Wednesday, September 20th, registration for classes, clubs, and activities and travel opportunities will begin. So anyone needing assistance with registration can stop by the registration table right out there, and the ladies will be happy to answer your questions. Also, this is explained in the catalog, but feel free after this to stop by, and the ladies will be more than happy to help you with your questions regarding registration in classes. Now we want to welcome our new members. Anyone who's never been a member in OLLI, would you please raise your hand? Well, for you, we have a brand new member promotion that offers a free course with the purchase of a new membership. And again, you can stop by the registration table and they will explain how this promotion works depending on whether or not you purchase an annual or semester membership. And again, that's also in the catalog. Now, before inviting our instructors up to speak with us, I want to ask Marie Lewis if she will come up and tell us about the activities that she's arranged.
Thank you, Bruce. Thank you, everybody, for being here today. It's so great to see all you guys out there, the new members especially, and we have 16 activities coming up today, and I had a lot of help getting all of those organized, so be sure to look online. Wanted to thank everybody on our inaugural field day. If you didn't have a chance to go on September 11th, be on the lookout. We may or may not do this again. We'll be talking about that more. Just want to bring your mind to a couple of things that are happening this month. There's many others, but these are the most important to take a look as you're registering tomorrow or Wednesday. The kayak clinic, it's got a limit of 10 people. So we're doing an FSU reservation kayak clinic. So if you ever wanted to learn how to kayak, now's the time. There's the Women at War that we will have at the FSU Museum of Fine Arts. And that's going to be a wonderful presentation on women at war. And then don't forget that we do have our holiday gathering, and that does need a registration, so be sure to do that. I look forward to seeing you out there at our activities. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Jen. I participated in some of these activities over the years, and some of them are, well, they're all very interesting. and I invite you to consider that. I also would like to mention that there are many online classes from what to choose during the week as noted in the catalog. A video of these instructors will be found in will be found in our uh, website. In the website, you can see a video of the Zoom classes or online, whatever you like to call it. So also, though, there will be a video of today's showcase as well. So be advised that you can see that in our website. Now, we'll look forward to hearing from our instructors about their in-person classes. And the instructors for Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday will begin first, and then be followed by the instructors for Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. Now, there is one exception in which Ms. Sung has to leave early to teach a class, so she'll be the first. And then after the conclusion of the instructor presentations, Jan Smith, our first VP, will give the closing comments.
I'm after you.
Okay, do I just go now? Okay, great. Good afternoon. My name is Ji-hye, and I'm from Korea. I'm a pianist, classically trained pianist, and the College of Music faculty member teaching music theory and piano. I'm also a researcher and advocate of all kinds of music from Korea, South Korea. So let me start by asking a couple questions. Do you know what kimchi is? Yes, all right. Do you know who BTS is? All right, okay. Have you watched K-drama such as Squid Game or movie Parasite? Yes, no, but would you like to know more about that? And also, do you like music? Great. So then this class will be awesome for you. My class is titled Korean Culture in Korean Music, and we'll be exploring a few key concepts of Korean culture. Culture can mean a lot of things and include a lot of elements, and I picked music that is specifically tied to certain kinds of cultural elements or events or emotions that are very particular to Korean people. So let's just try something fun. I brought something. It's an instrument, percussion instrument, and I'm gonna play something, a pattern, and you can clap after me. Okay. Great, and a little different.
Going over to me.
Okay, we are gonna put them together. Excellent, great job. So this is one of the many patterns called 장단, which is related to a percussion group that is called 사물놀이, and this is one of the 4 instrumental groups, instruments that are in the group, and it relates to also farming culture, farming rice, and rice is what we eat with kimchi, and it's also to do with labor and folk tunes and traditional Korean music. So these things come together in just playing that little segment that we just did together. So we are gonna be listening to a lot of different kinds of music from Korea and sometimes sing together and learn about Korean history and all sorts of cultural aspects related to the music that I bring to the classroom. My class is on Thursday, and it will start on October 5th, and 2 weeks of classes, and then 2 weeks of break because I'll be performing in Canada for 2 weeks. And then I come back for November and 3 more weeks of class. So thank you. I hope to see a lot of you there.
Good afternoon.
My name is Chuck Wells, and I'm going to be teaching the class that I called Tallahassee Takes Off, Dale Mabry Field. On February 22nd, 1922, the headlines of the Tallahassee Democrat, back then the Daily Democrat, decried the loss of Captain Dale Mabry in the fiery crash of the Roma, which was a hydrogen-filled dirigible at Langley Field in Virginia. 33 others perished in that crash, and it was the worst aviation disaster on U.S. soil up until that time. And if that wasn't tragic enough, below the fold was an announcement that Tampa sought to relocate the capital out of Tallahassee to anywhere else in the peninsula. Even Gainesville was considered better than Tallahassee, God forbid. This new emerging field of aeronautics was sweeping the nation and hitting close to home. And in 1929, Tallahassee made a big bet and invested in this emerging aeronautical industry. We couldn't fly people in airplanes until we had airports. The first airline actually started in Tampa, and it was pontoon boats flying between Tampa and St. Pete, and Clearwater. So we built a municipal airport 3 miles west of downtown, where Tallahassee Community College sits today. And it was named Dale Mabry Field in honor of a native son and pioneer of flight who lost his life in that horrific crash. And guess what? Tampa was green with envy. So in the emerging years, we saw that the world was changing, and there was a threat of a Second World War. And in 1941, Tallahassee took on a major role in the mobilization effort when they were awarded a federal contract to build Dale Mabry Army Airfield at Dale Mabry Field, the municipal airport. Now imagine Tallahassee as a military town. Imagine if there was this just constant buzz of airplanes flying out of Dale Mabry Field right over the Capitol and heading to the coast, to the bombing ranges and to the strafing targets down on Alligator Point. And imagine 76,000 visitors coming to the sleepy town of Tallahassee, Florida, which only had 16,000 citizens during World War II, to see their loved ones before they departed to go overseas, because we were the last place that these fighter jocks would train before they departed to go overseas. However, if there had not been a municipal airport in Tallahassee, this would not have happened because during mobilization, they were going to cities that had airports already. And it's my strong conviction, and I hope to convince you if you take my course, that Tallahassee would not have remained the capital of Florida if it had not been for Dale Mabry Field. Instead, we'd be about the size of Midway. Think about that for a second. And the nearest airport would be in the great metropolis of Thomasville, Georgia. So in this course, you're going to learn how Dale Mabry and other aviation pioneers, including Charles Lindbergh and Amelia Earhart and Eddie Rickenbacker and the Tuskegee Airmen, connect right here to local history. In session, is that to me?
Right, they open the alert. Thank goodness.
Whoa. Oh, God.
No.
It's an interesting concept to have an alert to say that there's no alert.
They used to do something very similar during World War II, and that was the, seems appropriate for this, but in short, you will learn how Tallahassee took off because of Mabry Field instead of going the way of the dodo bird.
Hi, I'm Catherine Mooney, and I am actually officially the James Jones Associate Professor of American History here in the History Department at FSU. So any of you who perhaps took Jim's classes, either as students or later in OLLI, or both, please know that every time I teach an OLLI class, I think of Jim. Every time I go into a classroom, I think of Jim. And the courses that I choose to teach in OLLI are largely dictated by the fact that I'm too chicken to teach stuff that I think is still very much his. What I'm offering this term is something that we decided to call U.S. History from Union to Secession, 1800 to 1860, which, to be fair, I should tell you, is based on my undergraduate course, which originally was Jim's course. So, you know, we're not getting too far from the source. But the idea is really to take seriously and dig into a period of American history that I know we gave you kind of a bait and switch title, but usually, you know, this story is told as sort of like, well, we were inevitably going to have a civil war, so let's backdate and explain how we got there. And what I try to do in this course is definitely to talk about that and to talk about, you know, how those sectional tensions emerge, but also to think about how all these other things are going on, right? Because the people who are alive then don't know that they're going to have a civil war. They worry about it a lot, but they don't know about it. And so what they're interested in is, yes, sectional tension, but also the very idea of what's a republic, what's a democracy. They're very conscious of the fact that they feel they have a place in world history because they're doing this amazing experiment. And creating sort of modern mass politics that would be familiar to us in a way it wouldn't have been familiar to the founding fathers. Creating a national economy, having debates about the size of government and the role of government in ways that we're still having today. And so really, this is kind of a way to revisit an era of history that probably many of you know well, but to talk about parts of it that you may not have dug into in your earlier studies. And I find just from teaching it that it often brings up really fascinating debate because it's relevant to things we're still dealing with. So this course will be offered on Wednesdays, hybrid on FSU campus from 9:30 to 11:30 Eastern Time, and I hope to see you.
Hi. Are you interested in your health? Do you worry about taking too much medicine? Or do you want to lose some weight? Did you know that what you eat is more important than counting calories? My name is Linda Oaksford, and I'm a Food for Life instructor with the Physicians Committee for Responsible Medicine. Based on this book, the 21-day Weight Loss Kickstart book, written by Dr. Neil Barnard, this 4-week course, The Power of Plant-Based Nutrition for Health, meets here at FSU on Wednesdays at noon. The class will teach you about a low-fat, whole food, plant-based lifestyle that does not involve counting calories. This diet lowers your risk of getting some of the most common diseases such as Alzheimer's, diabetes, heart disease, and even some cancers. The science behind healthy eating is always at the forefront, and you will learn some of the causes of these common diseases and gain the knowledge and skills for choosing foods that support overall health and weight loss if that's a goal. During the classes, we'll focus on what a healthy day's menu looks like, weekly meal planning, knowing what to look for on food labels, and learning about foods that provide the most nutrients and which foods you should avoid. easy, helpful, easy-to-follow handouts, including healthy menu ideas, weekly meal planning guides, plant-based recipe substitutions, plus a few others will be provided. In addition to having time to support each other if you choose to go completely plant-based, each session includes a short video and a delicious plant-based treat. So I hope to see you on Wednesdays at noon.
Good afternoon. It's always a privilege to teach OLLI classes. I've had the privilege of doing so for the last several years, and just looking out across our mini horizon, I see a number of familiar faces, some that go back to long ago and far away days of yore. I used to work with and around, collaborate with this gentleman, whom you'll hear from in a minute, in his capacity as Dean of the College of Social Sciences and Public Policy at FSU. So this time I will be teaching 2 courses, midweek, Wednesday, noon to 2, and they will follow each other, 2 mini courses, 3 weeks apiece. And Terry, I think you said that these are both in Broad auditorium. So the 2 courses are, in the interests of national security, just a half minute on my background, which informs how we approach these issues. I had also the privilege of serving as counsel to Governor Lawton Chiles, and then tours in the Clinton White House and the Bush State Department, and served as a special assistant to a 4-star Marine Corps general who became chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, and then some intelligence work in Key West, of all places, before I returned to Tallahassee. So the first course, in the interests of national security, many different elements of national security analysis that aren't always necessarily well supported, but the issues are very real. And just the caption that included in the catalog, 3-week course explores various measures that the U.S. and other governments have taken relating to purported national security imperatives within the ambit of the rule of law that are sometimes, perhaps often, influenced by fear, regardless of whether those imperatives are well-founded and unfounded. Many different aspects. So it should be, and we also incorporate emerging issues, real-time issues. The next course is, which again will track the same time frame, first 3 weeks. The next 3 weeks would be Great Decisions Fall Discussion Forum. And this is based upon resources that are developed by the Foreign Policy Association, well-regarded, credible, 100+ years in history. They select various topics for each year and release them on or about, the January of every year. The fall discussion forum, this 3-week course, will focus upon 2 or 3 of the topics that we didn't cover in the current year array of topics from the Foreign Policy Association that we didn't cover in the spring, which will include, Iran at a crossroads, famine, a renewed threat, a wide range of food insecurity, and economic warfare and U.S. Policy. Similarly, we also incorporate emerging and contemporaneous issues. So, and I'll pause by saying this, the pedagogy or the framework for the discussions, and it is, like many OLLI classes, discussion-oriented. It's borrowing from a law school, but it's not about being a law school class, but the pedagogy is spot the issue, identify the implications, and attempt to align with the applicable legal policy, ethical, sometimes doctrinal framework. This emphasizes critical analysis instead of opinion. Opinions make it more interesting and colorful, but that's not how we track through it. So, and it creates space, therefore, for a wide range of issues and perspectives, could be diametrically opposed. So I hope to see you in one or both of those courses. And again, as always, thank you, and please convey that to Deb as well. By the way, Bruce, our current OLLI president, Bruce, I'm not sure that you've been in every class that I've taught, but you've been in most of the classes I've taught. Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is David Rasmussen, and I think that the Civil War and the surrounding decades are among the most interesting in our history. So I'm really pleased to offer this course on the economics of slavery, the Civil War, and emancipation. We're going to explore the institutions, values, incentives, and the law that supported slavery, which was a very, very profitable institution in the South. Not so much in the North. Slavery was rampant in the North, but it wasn't very profitable, which largely accounts for the fact that many of the northern states emancipated their slaves early in the 1800s. This gives us an opportunity, of course, to examine the various ways in which you can emancipate enslaved persons, and we will be covering that. As late as the spring of 1864, that's the year that Lincoln was reelected, it was not at all certain that the Civil War was going to succeed in ending slavery in America. This is despite the fact that the North had all of the resources that you would think they needed to easily win the war. They had far more manufacturing capacity to make weapons. They had a much larger portion, a much larger population with which to put soldiers in the field, and they had a lot more financial resources. I hate to say it, but economics might not be the only thing acting here. I'm obviously an economist. Among the most important factors that influenced the outcomes of the war was the politics of the North and the resolve of the South. We're also going to consider what would have happened if the war didn't end slavery. And there were a lot, we will explore the various scenarios in which that could happen. How long would slavery survive how long would survive before it died, as Lincoln said, by a natural death? Various scholars have meditated on this, and generally, we're probably talking about generations. Echoes of slavery are active today, with increased demand for reparations for the descendants of enslaved people. Economists have estimated the costs of various reparation plans, and we will close with a discussion of their merits. I hope to see some of you in this class, and thank you very much.
Hi everyone, my name is Xixi Shen, and the course I'm going to teach is Group Piano Lessons, an Introduction. I'm a PhD student in piano pedagogy at FSU, and this class would be perfect for those of you who just started out your music journey. So welcome to be in my class. So here are 4 keywords I would like to include for our course. First is healthy. So imagine yourself sitting in front of a piano and you want to enjoy yourself playing without feeling any discomfort. And the second keyword is ensemble. So in this class, it's going to be a very friendly environment. You will enjoy playing with your group members. With everyone here, you will not feel alone. We will create the music together and enjoy some group work. And third keyword I would like to address is international. So we will experience different kinds of music in this class, and you will share some folk music, even contribute to this class, and we will enjoy the music around the world. The fourth one I would like to say is improvisational. So from playing piano, we want to play not only from the score, we want to also create our own ideas. So I look forward to hear your musical ideas in this class. And the class will be in October 4th from 2:30 to 4:30. Thank you.
All right. So my topic is the fate of the universe and other things we don't know. I'm a physicist, or at least I've been trying to be one. And as a physicist, of course, I'm imbued by the arrogance of physicists who think that physics is the queen of all sciences. I'm not as arrogant as Ernest Rutherford, who said, physics is the only science, everything else is just stamp collecting. But I'm also not as good a physicist as he was. So in this course, we will talk about questions for which we do not have real answers. We have tentative answers, but as everything in active physics research, everything is tentative and can be undone by new discoveries. So the things we'll talk about is the fate of the universe, and closely linked to it, is there dark matter? Is there dark energy? What else is there in the universe? We'll talk about the question why there is more matter than antimatter in the universe. And that's just as well, because if there weren't, we wouldn't be here to talk about this. Other things we'll talk about is whether we understand why the laws of physics are such that they allow the existence of life, of us. Physicists have been trying for years to find what they call a theory of everything, which explains from which everything can be derived, including the value of certain constants of nature. And the value of these constants of nature in our universe are such that they allow the existence of atoms and cells, etc. But is this a coincidence, or can we derive this from a theory of everything? We don't know. In fact, now most of the physicists think that there is no such theory of everything, that there may be, oh, the wicked witch of the watch is reminding me again. All right, I guess I will have to stop soon. So the talk, my class is on Wednesdays at 2:30, and if you are not yet bored stiff, maybe you will be able to walk there and come see me there. Thank you.
I have to follow that. Hi, my name is Eden Staffstrom. I just changed from Eden Gordon, got married. I'm a PhD student. I study linguistics, specifically social linguistics, which is interactions between society and language and how that works, right? I taught my first OLLI seminar last spring on Native American languages and cultures, and I absolutely loved it. You guys are amazing. So I'm back. During that seminar, I got a ton of questions about general linguistics. What is language? How does it change and evolve and interact with society? Why do different groups speak differently within languages? And how does that come to be? And I love those questions, so we made this whole seminar for it. So this semester, I'm answering these questions in the seminar, Language, Power, and Society. We're going to look at how languages change in response to broad societal and political trends, and how politicians might interact with these changes. For example, in our first lesson, we're going to look at the divergent evolutions of North and South Korean and how that happened so rapidly. How later on we'll look at why men and women speak differently and the negotiation for prestige through language, and why that's true across the world, except in some conflict zones, such as in the Middle East, and how different institutions might try to intentionally change languages, and if that's even possible, if that can be successful at all, and what the political motivations might be for those institutions trying to do that. One of my shortcomings in teaching my last seminar is that I got a lot of interdisciplinary questions as well. I am just a linguist. I am not a historian or a political scientist. To address this, I'm going to bring in a couple guest speakers throughout this course. So we already have an Amazonian ethnohistorian booked to come and talk to us about the expression of identity in areas of the Amazon with huge linguistic diversity. We also might have a talk from a PhD in international relations. I'm also going to be gone for one of the lectures. I will be in Morocco presenting my research on Spanish-Arabic bilingualism. So I am organizing a panel of young professionals in politics who are going to come and speak. We have someone who worked in political campaigns locally, someone who worked in environmental lobbyist groups, and potentially someone who works in international counterterrorism diplomacy. So it should be interesting. I'm excited to see you guys there.
By the way, is anyone a stamp collector? You?
All right. So I can go ahead and get started. So I'm going to give you guys a little pop listening quiz. So go ahead and listen to what I'm about to do and then see if you can answer the question. Do you know what song that was from? Mm-hmm. Yeah. What was it? Shout it out. Piano Man. Yeah, exactly. Good job. Yeah. A+ for everyone. So you all can be piano men and women if you take the continued studies OLLI group piano class, the level 2. So this would be the next level. So we would be studying intermediate note reading, continued, musical studies. If you feel like, you either took the group 1 class, level 1 class, or you have some previous piano experience already. We're going to be doing all kinds of stuff. We're going to be playing lead sheets, even some jazz charts. We play a lot of musical games. We have a lot of fun. And also, for those of you who don't know me, I'm Melody Morrison. I'm a third-year PhD student here at FSU in piano pedagogy. So which basically means teaching piano. So I like what I do. And yeah, so our class meets Thursdays, starting October 5th. We go from 11 to 1 in the Kellogg Research Building. Again, we'll be having a lot of fun. We'll be playing probably some Beatles and maybe even some Billy Joel. Perhaps a harmonica and piano ensemble might be in the works for our class. So hope to see you there. Thank you.
I guess I'm up. My name is Danny Pietrodangelo. I've actually taught photography at OLLI for 10 years, so I'm kind of an oldster. We're all of a certain age where we remember going to the drugstore or the camera shop or the mailbox and getting that envelope with the photos in it, cracking the envelope opening, first thing, they came out. The wonder, but then you also started flipping through them, you know, those 3.5 by 3.5, 3 by 5s, and going, ew, that's terrible. You know, that's blurred. The things that, the disappointment that you have from the ones that didn't come out. And there's all kinds of things, you know, you cut off somebody's head, or it's blurred, or there's a harsh shadow across somebody's face and they look like they're from another planet. The tilted horizons, I love those. You know, where it's like, oh no, I'm gonna fall off. What we're gonna do in this class is learn how to prevent those spoilers. And the idea is, the focus of it is seeing photographically. And that's, you know, kind of a hoity-toity program. I mean, label. But all it means is pre-visualization, which is even worse, where you see the picture before you take it. Okay, and it just takes a second. And when you do that, you will be, I guarantee you take this class and your photographs will be better. Guarantee it, okay, I've seen it. We start off with a little bit about the mechanics of photography. Technical, not too much about f-stops and megapixels and all that stuff, but just enough so you know what makes the picture. Then we go into a little bit about digital, because you need to know how this is working. Not too deep again. Composition and design, okay, that is the next one, and that's a fun one. Because this is where you start to understand the things that are going to be in your picture and how you frame them. I love those photos where a picture of someone in front of a mountain. They want to show that they were there. What is it a picture of? The person's this big and the mountains are like way in the back. How do you deal with that? So what is it a picture of? Then we'll have a history lesson on, we'll have a history lesson on great photographers and great photographs. What makes a photograph great and why, with all the stuff you learn, you should be able to evaluate it. Then, every class you review the photos you took as a volunteer assignment, and we do that every class, and then she's like flashing a sign, and I'm ignoring it. Then we have one class where we really focus on that. I'm almost done. Finally, the last class is on photo editing software, and that's a big deal, particularly since now, with iPhones, you can go take the background out. Voluntary assignments every week. Anyway, the class is informative, it's informal, and it's fun, and I look forward to seeing you there. Thank you. Oh, by the way, this is the camera that I took my first picture with, okay, when I was 6 years old. This is the camera that I take most of my pictures with now.
I'm Lauren Weingarten. This is my first effort to teach at OLLI. You might have seen my one-time lecture on the installation art collection that's in Brazil. I did a one-time lecture on Zoom. But this semester, I'm going to teach a course called Impressionism, Color, Light, and Modern Life. I recently retired from FSU, where I taught art history for 37 years. During that time, I traveled around the world and went to many museums, so I want to share that experience with you. I also taught in London and in Paris. Paris is my second home. And I want to bring all those travel and up-close experiences of looking at Impressionist paintings to you. The course examines the works of Monet, Renoir, Degas, I don't have the Degas book with me, but Berthe Morisot, Mary Cassatt. During the 1860s, and I'm going to stretch it to the 1910s because I want you to see Monet's water lily room in the Musée de l'Orangerie in Paris. We're going to focus on the stylistic and technical innovations. We're going to talk a bit about the personal lives of the artists and the cultural forces that influence their artistic inventions. At the end of the course, you'll be able to tell the difference between a Renoir and a Monet. Yes, I will teach you that. And we're going to study Impressionism also as a science of color as light, which brought about the broken brushwork and the idea that the artist was painting from their first impression, but that's a myth. We're going to use artists' and critics' writings to discuss the artist's intentions and the reception of their works of art. Some of the subjects are going to be landscape paintings, as well as paintings of Paris and rural settings around Paris. Activities involving modern leisure, such as boating and strolling, and portraits of family and friends of the artist. Finally, I invite you to go to Michael's or Hobby Lobby or Walmart and get yourself some art materials, colored pencils, paints, whatever, because I want you to experiment at home with painting Impressionist paintings. I'm not an art teacher, I'm an art historian. Okay, so my class meets 6 times, and beginning the 5th of October, and we meet from 1:30 to 3:30 on Thursdays at FSU. Thank you.
You see, ladies and gentlemen, I brought an assistant to hold up the United Nations flag. I'm Dr. Toni Kirkwood Tucker, retired faculty from FSU in teacher education. It is my great pleasure to be able to teach you about my newly developed class, the United Nations, Laboring for Peace Among Nations. What an overwhelming task of this assembly of 193 members to try to create peace in the world. My class starts in the second week of October, October 12th, from 2:30 to 4:30 at Westminster Oaks. It is a Thursday class. In the first half of the 20th century, the world experienced the worst war ever in the history of warfare, World War II. Over 100 million soldiers and civilians from over 30 nations were killed. In Nazi Germany alone, 17 million were murdered, 606 million Jews, in addition to the homosexuals, the Jehovah's Witnesses, the physically and mentally handicapped, the political dissidents, and so forth. They were hung on meat hooks in the Stadelheim Museum in Munich. Something has to change. The world of war has to stop. Thanks to US President Franklin Delano Roosevelt and Prime Minister Winston Churchill, including China and Russia, they got together And on a glorious day in San Francisco in 1945, the United Nations were formed. Its major goal, not only international relations and international trade and student exchanges and teacher exchanges and people's exchanges, but to promote peace among nations. This 6 weeks class will address the United Nations branches. First of all, the 5 branches of the General Assembly, the Secretariat, the Trustee Council, the Social and Economic Council, and the Security Council. There's a lot of discussion over the Security Council as to the members who serve in the Security Council, particularly now that Mr. Putin is to be arrested. There is an arrest warrant by the International Criminal Court out on Mr. Putin, but he sits on the Security Council. I will also discuss the many organizations that comprise the United Nations, such as the World Health Organization, such as UNESCO, such as UNICEF, which you might remember collecting for UNICEF for the children around the world who were hungry, the World Court, the International Criminal Court of Justice in The Hague, where, ladies and gentlemen, at this very point today, a team of Russian lawyers and a team of Ukrainian lawyers are meeting in the International Court of Justice to discuss the role of Russia and its invasion of the Ukraine. I will also discuss the role of the peacekeeper forces who have helped in subduing and on occasion eliminating conflict among groups of people and nations, but ultimately have not been obviously very successful. I will also discuss the role of women. The United Nations is particularly interested in creating equity for women in their role in the world. And ultimately, very excitingly, a climax in one of my presentations is the role of former First Lady Eleanor Roosevelt, who was chosen to chair the Commission on Human Rights of the United Nations in London in 1946, where the General Assembly met for the first time. And she was instrumental in creating one of the most beautiful documents I consider in the world, the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. I hope you'll be able to join me on Thursdays from 2:30 to 4:30 at Westminster Oaks. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Ben Gunter, and I'm the artistic director for a company called Theater with a Mission. I also work at FSU with public speakers, dancers, and actors. So I have a really performative approach to historical milestones. And I'm hoping that every one of you knows that next year, 2024, marks the official 200th anniversary of the founding of Tallahassee. If you know that, please put up 2 fingers. Yes. How many of you know that this year, 2023, marks the 200th anniversary of Tallahassee being selected as the site for the Capitol? Put up 3 fingers if you know that. Yay, we have some very well-informed people here. I'm here to tell you about a course called Encounters with Territorial Tallahassee that meets on Thursdays from 11 a.m. till 1 p.m. in the broad auditorium of the Pepper Center. 6 sessions where we get to go on a treasure hunt. Now, like treasure hunts that you may have gone on before, this one has a map, and it has some equipment, and it has some outcomes. So let's talk about the map the equipment, and the outcomes. Here's the map. We're going to get very hands-on with history. Yeah, we are going to dig in to all the roots of territorial Tallahassee. Here are the materials. We'll be looking at journals. Journals kept by people like Dr. Williams Haynes Simmons, who left St. Augustine in 1823, and John Lee Williams, who left Pensacola in 1823 to come to Middle Florida and find the place that became the capital of the new territory. We're going to be looking at pictures. We'll be looking at songs and dances, because they have all kinds of information that doesn't get written into the history books that tell us what history was actually like then. We're going to be looking at plays, because after all, we're a theater company. And we'll be looking even at foods, because history has a taste and a smell when it comes alive. Outcomes. We're hoping that people will get multiple perspectives. We're very interested in people getting Native American perspectives on the selection of Tallahassee as the site for the capital. We want to make sure that people get Spanish perspectives. Yes, Don Quixote and Sancho. Spanish perspectives on this site selection as well. We want to make sure that Black Florida perspectives are included. And we want to make sure that you even get all the way down to the earth and hear some Florida cracker perspectives on what happened when Tallahassee got selected as the capital. It's right up there in our map, Tallahassee. It's available for us to dig into. So come join us on Thursdays from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. in the Broad Auditorium and get digging into hands-on history with encounters with territorial Tallahassee. Thank you.
I hope y'all didn't take a picture of me with that flag. That might get me in trouble in Florida. No, just kidding. My name's David Proctor. I'm the program chair for history and anthropology at Tallahassee Community College, and I'm thrilled to share the stage with all these history luminaries up here like Ben Gunner and so on. Anyway, I was going to teach a Civil War class, but Catherine Mooney just resurrected all my fears and terrors of that class. I was a Jim Jones student, and back in grad school, had beers with him and everything else. And I have this fear, if I tried to teach the Civil War, he would appear and he would say, "What the F-bomb does Proctor know about history?" And if you know Jim Jones, you'll know what I meant there. So I have that horrifying fear. So given that being the case, instead, I'm going to teach the history of Leon County in 5 nights on Thursday evenings. I think it's going to be a ball. I'm fascinated by the subject. I've never taught this course before, so I want to learn a lot from you guys. And so anybody interested in Tallahassee history, bring your stories and your participation. We'll have a great time. My credentials for such a topic, I think I'm a legit Florida man. 6 generations on both my parents, 4 generations Tallahassee. And, you know, I've done things like leave Leon High School, get a case of beer, and jump into the Big Dismal Sink back in the 70s. So I know a little bit about Leon County and so on. I bet some of you have too, you're just not admitting it. Anyway, I think we're going to have a ball. We're going to start, heck, with the Pleistocene era, megafauna, and just go on a wild rush all the way to all the current day issues and so on. I think we're going to have a great time. So I hope to see you there. The history of Florida taught by a Florida man, or history of Leon County. I'm not going to try to take on Florida. But we're going to have a great time. I hope to see you then. Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Linda Schuyler Ford. I am a performing storyteller, spoken word artist, but also a support group facilitator. And I have combined those 2 loves to create a program called 5 Smooth Stones, From Loss to Peace Through Storytelling. It will be offered, it's a one-off program gathering on the 10th of October, that's a Friday, from 9 to 1 at Westminster Oaks in the pub. It takes a look at how we move through grief. In the beginning, loss is quite myopic and it can be all-consuming. And through sharing some storytelling, some journaling, music, and poetry, we have a chance to move our cameras back so that we have a wider view of our lives and can reclaim some of the things that bring us happiness and joy and fulfillment. The second half of the program is, if I've listened very well, then I can pull up stories that I will perform for you that show you the metaphor of the discoveries that you've discussed and brought forward through journaling. And in that metaphor, you will find some light, some connection with others, and a way to absorb your grief and move forward with that, living side by side with some happiness and fulfillment. Again, that's 5 smooth stones moving through loss. I'm reading it like I didn't come up with it in the first place. Moving from loss and grief through storytelling. Friday, the 20th of October from 9 to 1 at Westminster Oaks, and I would love to share that time with you. Thank you.
Oh, and one quick invitation, March 23, Clayman Plaza, the Tallahassee History Festival. We've had a ball the last 2 years. You will be well prepared for that if you take my class.
Jan, can I? Could I issue another invitation? Could I issue another invitation? This weekend, Friday night and Saturday, Railroad.
I'm a chair. I'm good.
All right.
I like attention.
We didn't even get a picture of it. All right. This weekend, Friday night from 6 to 9, Saturday morning from 10 to 1, Saturday night from 6 to 9, there's a Loco for Love festival which is going to be exploring the backstory to Tallahassee's bicentennial. It's a chance to taste history because Real Paella is going to be cooking paella on Friday night when we look back to Spanish Florida. It's a chance to dance history since Ayoka, African Dance and Drumming, is performing for us on Saturday morning so we can really experience the kind of communities that Dr. Simmons went through of Black settlers in Florida. It's also a chance to get to laugh at history and see it from a different perspective as Theater with a Mission performs some plays. Our Assistant Director, Heidi Coddington, is by the door with some flyers, so please take them.
Thank you, Ben. Well, my name is Jan Smith. I'm the first vice president for OLLI, and I'm here to say goodbye. No, thank you. No, thank you all so much for coming. There is a lot going on with OLLI, and you know, how many of us had parents say to us, hey, you get out of anything what you put into it. Yeah. So, and that's kind of my point. The quality of your experience will be directly related to how much you get yourself involved with OLLI. And there are lots of opportunities to do that by volunteering. All these folks over here that you met out and when you first came in, they are all volunteers. They take classes too, but they're also volunteers. So join a club, get involved in an activity, and become a class host if you're going to take classes. Debbie Justice, our second vice president, is the woman who kind of heads up the class hosting program, and she'll be in touch with you once you get on a class roll to see if you would like to host a class. It's a great way to meet people, and that's what's so wonderful about OLLI, is that you can meet a lot of different people from all walks of life and form lifelong friendships. So I would encourage you to do that. On your way out, the tables are still open. There are snacks for the road, so be sure and stop and get some. And please enjoy the rest of your experience with OLLI. If you're new, don't forget the promo. If you sign up and register as a member of OLLI, which you can do outside today, you get a free course, depending on whether you're signed up for the year or the semester. And I would also like for you to see Terry Aronson, who's sitting over here giving us all this. Terry is our program director. Terry helps us with everything, and you'll run into her in your time with OLLI as well. Sign up for activities. If you have an idea for an activity, see Marie. She's great for that. So help us help you have a great experience. And thank you all so much for coming.